Hello everyone. So let's learn how to make a vertical slider with Elementor. And we're going to use the swiper.js library for this. And here is an example of what you can accomplish. And it's not too complicated when you have the right code. So let's learn how to make this. And as you can see, it's working fine with the mouse wheel. That's what I'm using now to scroll through it. When it gets at the last place, it gets back to the default browsing. And when you go back up, it's the same. It uses the mouse wheel to scroll through the slides. And then when you get to the top slide, the normal browsing behavior resumes. And this is an option. I will get to this later. And what also works is just clicking on the little circles to get to the different slides. And we'll also see how to add a up and down arrow to go through them. So first, let me show you what we start with. So this is the same page, but without any modifications, any code. So essentially, it's just at the top, I have a normal section, which is not part of the swiper. And then here I have a column with 5 inner sections. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then on the column itself, I have a white background and the border radius on the column directly. So if we go in the editor and have a look from here, so as you can see, there is one section here. And within that section, there is just one column. And then in that single column, we have these 5 inner sections. And then those have all this content. And each inner section will become one slide. So the first thing you will need is to add the correct class names so that the code will work. So on the parent section to everything, you will want to add the class name parent section. And then you can adjust the padding and margin as you normally would. But this part is crucial. So it needs to have the class name parent section. And then the column, I'm not sure. I think maybe it doesn't need anything. Yeah, so that one doesn't need anything. I'm not sure why I have padding here. Maybe it's not needed. Let's remove it and we'll get back to it there if we need it. So let me actually just reset this here. And then let's set this to 0. All right. So yeah, so the parent section needs parent section, and then each inner section needs to have the class swipe with 2 E's. This is just to avoid any kind of conflict that might arise if some other plugin use the class swipe, which is a bit more generic. So I use swipe with 2 E's. It helps to avoid any kind of conflicts. And then you design your inner section as you normally would. It will get much better result if they all have approximately the same height, the same amount of content. And yeah, so for this part, it's just normal Elementor, and that's one of the advantage of this design. You use inner section. It's not templates. It's not something complex. It's just normal Elementor, so you can change anything you want, and everything works as normal. So each of them have each inner section needs a class swipe EE. And after this, you will go to my article. The link will be in the description. And at the bottom of what would be the swiper, you will add a new section with an HTML element in it. And then you will copy paste all my code in there. So let's copy paste the code. And now right away, you will see the change. It might happen right away. It might not. This is a little bit of, you know, Elementor, it's not perfectly stable. If for you the editor didn't snap into the swiper right away, then you can simply update, refresh the page, just reload the page, and then when it reloads, it should look like this. And right away, that's pretty much this simple. So there is it's not that complex. When you have the complex code, it's all set up just fine. After this, it's not very complex. So I will add back a little bit of bottom padding. Not in EM. Let's go to. All right, so that it looks more centered and it looks a little bit better like this. Maybe I could add even more. So okay, and yeah. So for the size of these, let's go in the code for a bit, and I will explain what's there. So the important part for this design to work, for some reason, the swiper.js library that comes with Elementor Pro seems to be slightly modified, so it didn't work well for a vertical swiper. So I needed to load another package of swiper.js that works much better. So that's why this first line is here. It just loads the swiper.js library, even if in theory we already have it with Elementor. But yeah, it just didn't want to play nicely with the vertical swiper. And then the code essentially just creates all the modifications required to create the swiper instance. And here we have the creation of the actual swiper instance. So direction vertical is what makes it vertical. So if we just remove this, then it would go to a horizontal swiper. So now I don't know, yeah, with the editor, it's not reloading. So the results when we change the code, it's not always instant in the editor. Sometimes we need to update and refresh. But that's essentially how you would make it horizontal. But that's not what we are learning here. So let's go back to vertical. The space between is just the space between every slide. So you will need to play with this a little bit, probably if you have like background colors on your inner section, different background colors or stuff like this. Although then it would complicate things a bit for the spacing and stuff, but you can give this a try. So here is the mouse wheel. If you don't want to go through the swiper with the mouse wheel, then you can simply delete this all part. And then it won't go through the swiper with the mouse wheel. But if you would like that feature, then just leave it in. And release on edges means that when you get to the last slide and you are going down, then the normal scroll behavior will turn back on. So I think that's a great feature. So I would keep this. So the pagination here is just for these dots. And then the navigation is to have custom up and down icons. So I will get to this very shortly. And very importantly is this setting here. So this is the height of the wrapper, and it needs to be set to approximately the tallest intersection that you have. So for example, if you had one that was just a bit taller than all the others, and it was, for example, like 600 pixels, then this would need to be set to 600 pixels so that there is enough room in each slide, essentially, to accommodate for all of them, including the tallest one. And then here, this is just to make the dots a little bit larger, because otherwise they are very difficult to click. Like the default is this, which is almost impossible to click. And I think I like to have people be able to click them. It's good for UX, I believe. So I always make them a bit larger, and they could be made even larger like this. I think this is also good. And now maybe we'll want to add just a little bit of padding to the right. So maybe less than this. All right, this looks good. So let's keep it like this for that part. And then let's add some up and down arrows. So I think I will want them here in the lower right corner. Okay, so we'll add it in a new section that will be just below. Let's add the new section. In the new section, we'll add 2 icons. So, and then upload, let's just go with the library. So we'll want up arrow. Okay, let's go with this. And then this needs to have the right class name. So let me go back to see what class name I have specified here. So it's a swipe up and swipe down. So let's give it the class swipe up. And while we're here, we also need to make it width inline. And then position, we'll want it to, well, actually, maybe it's fine like this. And let's also make the z-index to 99. Let's send this to the right, so horizontal align end. And now let's duplicate this. And let's just change this to a down arrow, which is right there. Okay, that's starting to look good. Let's give it the right class name. And then let's bring this up to here. So, or actually, I think I will make this a little bit better. So let's open the navigator. Let's close this inner section, and then let's bring this, if the navigator allows me, let's bring this in the section, but not the inner section. Actually, I think I will have more success if I just copy paste the icon in the column. All right, that's perfect. And let's copy paste this one as well. Okay, so now we see we have them here, up, down. Okay, so let me just get rid of this section. And then now we'll be able to use position absolute on them, and it will work great. So let's get position absolute to the right bottom. Where is it? It's right there. All right, so that's good. And let's give it an offset. So this is my up arrow. I will want it to the left of the right arrow. So let's give it an offset of 90. Okay, that looks good. And then let's say 20. All right. And then let's just copy paste the style. Also, if I copy paste the style, I will need to adjust the class name. So paste style, and now let's go this one, and let's just change the class name as I just mentioned. And the positioning needs to go to the right of the other, so let's say 20. Okay, let's make them a bit closer together. Okay, maybe even closer. That's a bit too close. Okay, this is good. Let's have a look what it looks like, what the old page looks like now. So this is the same page. Let's just refresh it. Now that we have the code and everything. So everything seems to work. We have all large dots. that they seem a little bit buggy still. I don't know if you notice, I click on the bottom dot and it went to the middle dot for some reason. Well, overall, it seems to work quite good. Yeah, you see there is this kind of bug. I'm not sure what it's about. In any case, for now, let's say that it's good enough. And let's try those buttons. And they are working just fine, but it looks like we have them backward. So let's go back in the code and let's have a look what's up. So this is the one that we want to go down. So swiper down. In this case, let's just swiper up. Oh, that's here. I made the error. So let's change this. It will already be corrected in the code I will share with you. So don't worry about it. It should work fine for you. Now let's have a look again. Let's refresh. Okay, that works fine. And now this works fine as well. So that's good. The outline that shows up on this button is for accessibility. We can remove them with some CSS, but if you don't replace them with other kind of active styling, it's not really recommended to remove them. So yeah, but in case you want it, it would just be to add outline 0 here, and then that would take care of this. So let's have a look what it looks like on the other viewports. So on tablets and mobile. So as you see on tablets, it kind of doesn't fit because there is too much content. It just doesn't fit in the allocated space for this. So what you will want is in this media query, you will want to adjust the height of the swiper to essentially the same idea as before. So it needs to be the tallest height of an intersection for the tablet viewport. So let's set this to like 640. And now maybe my preview won't be so accurate also. So we'll just try it and have a look. And then on mobile, it will be a similar idea. As you can see, it's much too small. So it needs to be set to much taller now, mostly because they are stacked. So let's try to set it to like 940 on mobile. Let's update and let's refresh the editor here. And also the page. And let's have a look what it looks like on the page. If we are on a smartphone, let's just refresh to be certain that we don't have any problems. So it works fine, but yeah, we have the problem that it's kind of difficult to scroll. So, and it doesn't kind of snap out of it. So yeah, this is not great. Now when I use my mouse, it works fine, but of course normal mobile users won't have this. So I don't know that a vertical swiper is a great mobile phone design idea in any case, but if you are to make this, you will want to consider the shortcomings of this. So and let's quickly have a look at the iPad view. And let me refresh to be certain that we have an accurate preview. Some spacing on the intersections themselves could be adjusted, like better paddings for tablet. But overall it works. Although it will be the same problem, like when they will want to swipe down the page, it will swipe like the swiper itself. So I'm not certain if this is a great idea for a mobile design. At least it will require some modification. So for now, at least, I would recommend to use this for desktop only. So a good way to fix this is to make the old design, this old swiper, just available on desktop devices. And we can use this bit of JavaScript if window dot inner width is less than 10. No, it's not. It's greater than 1024. Then we run the old code, and if not, then we have the normal section. So now here, yeah, all right. So now my preview here is not very accurate. So let's have a look what's happening now on the iPad. So it's back to a very normal Elementor section. And if I go out of the, now I will need to refresh. And now the code runs because the width is over 1024. And now we have this. Of course, with the new iPad Pros, this is always a little bit of a problem because now their width is the size essentially of a laptop screen. So for them, you will want to have a lot of left and right padding. And because they have a larger screen, it will be less of a problem. They will be able to swipe below it or beside it to go to the next section. So I think that will work all right for the very large iPads. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Of course, then on mobile, you will want to set these arrows to hidden. You can do this just in the normal responsive settings. So in here for the arrows, of course, and not for the HTML element. But you understand how this works already. So that's pretty much it. And I hope you enjoyed. And please subscribe if you did. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you very soon.